And welcome back to the Men's Roller Derby World Cup 2018 here in Barcelona. Things are beginning to draw to a close. I am Brom.
And I'm Melodrama.
And we are being produced by the wonderful Very Cherry. So, the Australia-France game, that going into this, I'm not sure that everyone was convinced that we would see this matchup.
We had a bit of an inkling. It was going to be America, France or England, I feel.
Trontotoro actually turned around to me at the start and she said, France are going to be in that fourth game playoff. So kudos to her for making that prediction.
Indeed, I bet she wished she put some money on that.
And of course, there are the medals. This is what the teams are playing for. One of the teams will walk away with the bronze medals at the end of this game.
What a fantastic tournament it's been so far. I'm sure this game will live up to everyone's expectations. You can probably hear at home the noise coming from the stadium. There's actually only about 12 or 14 people here. They're just really noisy.
There are two levels to the venue here in Barcelona, and on the mezzanine level, we've seen the entirety of the glass windows packed out here on the track floor. It's got incredibly busy, but we are underway straight away. That is Rocket for France.
Up against Slinger for Australia. Australia, of course, playing in the signature gold.
And blue for France, and it is Rocket that picks up leads straight off the line. They're coming in on that scoring pass.
Slinger pushing hard against that French wall.
A back block issue to Rocket, so it is Australia's Slinger that has the opportunity.
Slinger with one to beat, and they are through. Not the lead jammer, though, so we will get 2 full minutes for this first jam. Slinger taking about 45 seconds to get through. So starting off with absolute cracking defence.
Slinger pushing hard against the France 3 wall at the front just after turn 2. The power jam comes to an end. Rocket rejoins the back of the pack, and you can see Rocket moving across, recycle back. Slinger pushing forward, just gets knocked to the inside of turn 3.
And a topple from the French blocker. That gives Slinger the opportunity to join the track earlier.
Slinger starting to see a gap on the outside of turn 3. Passes Killian Cross.
Rocket just bumped out of play there by Sin. Players have yet to go back to do a full lap. Rocket does so now. 4 points added to French's score.
So the first points for France. Slinger yet to get that initial pass. An incredibly hardly fought jam. The full 2 minutes. But 5 full points picked up by Slinger. An amazing piece of footwork to pick up those points as well.
And something for people at home to remember is the intensity of the games that both of these teams played.
Yeah, France, well, obviously Australia, with that incredibly emotionally fueled game we saw against England yesterday. And it is sausage rolls for Australia.
Sausage rolls out the front. And he is through for Lee Jammer for Australia. Gets a bit of a knock in the back there by France blocker. That was Flavian. Five added to Australia's score.
Songalaku coming in on the scoring pass. He's seen the gap that he wants. Gets through at the last second. Sausage rolls just calling it off and gives away some points.
And we see on the VMix replay that little bump there to Sausage. But he just keeps skating. Thank you to VMix for that replay. Australia sitting on 13, France on 8. On the penalty, on the jammer line, number 666 for Australia, Slender Jam. And he is up against Yasser Lamance in the blue for France. Slender Jam is out first. Chambers thinking that he had drawn back French's jammer, and referees a little bit of a delay in that assessment.
So we're seeing Thortank step up for France.
But Thortank has to go back to the bench because Yasser Lamance is actually in the penalty box for a track cut that Chambers managed to pull. Yasser Lamance didn't see that he had not come in behind Chambers. So
Dreadlocks with the advantage here. Power jam start. No messing around, incredibly hard fighting up front.
Dreadlocks through. He gets Lee Jammer status. And we have Yasser Lamance standing in the penalty box. That means fewer than 10 seconds left on his penalty. Australian blockers have their eye on him. And Yas with the star off.
Both teams with full packed on the tracks. Yasser Lamance gets through, finds the space to complete the initial.
Dreadlock spinning out of control, calls that jam off. No opportunity for France to do any damage. 4 added to Australia's score. We have the VMix replay.
Great initial, just takes a tumble on the inside of turn 2, but quickly recovers with a nice backwards.
They're spotting that space on the outside line. It's quick thinking.
So Thortank and Sausage. Sausage quick off the mark.
Thortank lifting Chambers off the ground.
Just a one hand gracefully along the inside to
just
maintain position.
Mm.
Just wanted to touch it as he went through.
Quite smooth, thank you. Thortank throwing ballistic to the ground. And a track cut called, giving Sarge the power jam. No pass, no penalty, and Sarge wasn't aware of that, so he actually recycled a little bit back behind the blockers.
France losing their pivot to the Cheese Bowls Bearings penalty box.
Carlson managing to just catch enough of JV's skate.
Buisson being held by a strong Australia tripod.
Australian blockers very happy with what they've achieved there. 31 points now on the board for Australia. And it's a very positive start for them today.
Very low scoring to start with, as you can see. France have already seen 3 jammers go to the cheese balls bearings penalty box. And a big thank you to anyone in Australia that stayed up incredibly
It's like 1 in the
late.
morning, isn't it?
Yeah, so thank you to those that have stayed with us. Incredibly worth it to see the conclusion of these 2 teams' time in the Men's World Cup.
Thortank mushing up against the back of Copter. And France with all their blockers on the track. No one left in the cheese ball bearing penalty box.
France's Killian Cross knocking off one of the Australian blockers to the inside.
Mavericki still doing it tough there, 1 to beat.
Still
Gets them through.
Yeah, it takes 40 seconds for that lead to be picked up by Mavericki.
Mavericki trying for the inside line, getting a no pass, no penalty past Mirage, and that gives him 4 more points.
Yeah, the 5th lead in a row for Australia.
And if we start combining leads with power jams, Australia is starting to look like a very strong contender for this game. Here we see again on the VMix replay, Mavericki marching his way around the outside of the track. I'm just calling that jam off.
So, Charlie Cure, Slender Jam.
Slender Jam with the word belt on the back of his shirt.
Look how strong that France ball is, holding Slender Jam back.
They are barely moving. They are only moving to rotate and driving him back. Charlie Kerr lapping Slender Jam.
Slender Jam taking Charlie Kerr off and recycling back to turn 4.
Milling taking over.
Just giving Australia time to come behind the France wall to form. France now repeating the same tactic.
And Australia using a wall of beards. But Slender Jam off to the penalty box. Power jam for France, and they break on through. 5 points for that pass and lead jammer status. That is France's first power jam.
And look at that jump over the leg of Australia's Simon Chambers.
He's got long legs too, so you're doing pretty well. And let's see that replay again.
And the jump.
Some tricky footwork there, followed by that jump. Excellent work for France, and they are catching up. 21, just 14 in deficit.
So 10 minutes down on the clock.
We have Rocket on the jammer line for France. Slender Jam standing in the penalty box.
And Rocket seeing the opportunity, but Australia reforming around him. Gets taken off.
Penalty called on Rocket. I believe it was a back block, but a power jam all the same. Fingers being pointed at Slender, or is it one of the blockers? No, it is Mirage, the French blocker, off to the cheese ball bearing penalty box. Lead jammer assessed on Slender Jam.
So Slender Jam really quick to come back to the pack. Slightly light on the France front.
And Australia managing to hold back one of the blockers.
Rocket now rejoining his teammates.
Slender Jam calling that jam off. Let's see that action again. Just ducking past that one French blocker. Oh, the toe work on the line there, Brom. Not quite getting away with that.
So just calling an official timeout.
That leaves us 17 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. This gives us an opportunity to tell you who is skating on the Australian roster. No, it doesn't. Time's back on.
Incredibly efficient officials.
The officials have had an absolute cracker of a tournament.
Tongleku coming up against three of the toughest Australian blockers. A hard golden wall. Some fancy footwork from Dreadblocks. Sees him through to pick up leads.
France is through, completing their initial as well. That is Aku.
Dreadblocks having a hard time, gets taken out on the outside of turn 3.
Sarge wearing the pivot. Ordinarily, we would see Sarge as the jammer, but with the pivot helmet cover on, we are all wondering what will happen next.
Dreadblocks taken off again on the outside of the track. Tongleku sees a gap and starts picking up points for France. A cut track has been assessed on ballistic whistle.
Whistle having a chat with referees, giving his point of view.
So pack advantage will go to France going into the next jam. 2 for Australia on the track, 3 for France.
Alrighty, and let me tell you who is on the roster for Australia. The Wizards of Oz in the gold. We have 05 Lucky Phil, 1-1 Sausage Rolls. Excuse me, 1-2 Simon Changes, 1-2 6-1 Slinger, 1-3 Dreadblocks, 1-6 Ballistic Whistle, 1-7-3 Copter, 3-4 Dirty 5, number 4 Ashley Collins, 51 Sin, 6-3-3 Grant Milling, 6-6-6 Slender Jam, 7-2-0-0 Stephen Trop, 8-0 Flamin Galar, 9-0 Grease Monkey, and 99 Mavericky.
And with that, the jam is on. Sausage immediately back on the track, being rostered an awful lot, and a cut track has been given to France's 018 Yaslan and Mash.
Sarge loves the power jams. Bouncing off French blockers. Sarge is through for a 5-point pass. Australian blockers trying to hold back a French goat. Sarge marches on through for another 5. The jammer and the blocker is standing in the cheese ball bearing penalty box. They'll be joining their countrymen. Millings to the cheese ball bearing penalty box.
And a star stash sees France complete initial.
Sarge not quite able to stay in bounds.
And look at that footwork around the outside of turn 1 to get past Australia.
Sarge going in backwards. 4 points added to Australia's score with that pass. 4 for France.
Australia deciding to call it after a fantastic score, 19 points.
You see Sarge on the centre of the screen there, smashing France's blocker. And there goes France sneaking up the outside.
Of course, in 2014, Australia finishing 5th, and then 2016 going on to finish in the bronze medal position. France in 2014 finishing 4th, 2016 finishing in 5th. Are we going to see France take home the bronze medal for the first time in roller derby World Cup history?
If they keep, oh, that is a forearm penalty. Jam it to the penalty box. That is Thor Tank. If I remember correctly, that's the second power jam that Thor Tank has given to Australia. Here's Mavericky spinning around and getting lead jammer status.
France loses one of their blockers to the box, number 66. Australia have had lead now 10 times out of 11 jams. France's jammer standing in the box.
Australia managing to hold the pack pretty steady.
But Australia have noticed Thortank's return. They prepare. They're ready.
Killian Cross giving a lot of interference to Mavriki. Braveheart doing the same, but Mavriki is now through.
Thortank holding on to the star. Pivot is near pass. Killian Cross goes to pick it up, drops the star. Thortank manages to recover it, tries again. A great star pass to Killian Cross to complete that initial pass.
That would certainly be a good one to see again in our VMix replay. But play goes on. Killian Cross with the star on the helmet, and that jam called off.
Killian Cross especially having a phenomenal tournament so far.
You see in that replay.
There's been a timeout called by France.
Taking out Mavriki.
So this gives us a great opportunity to run through the France rosters. So we've got 0-0 Mirage, 0-18 Las Lamanache, 0-6 Thortank, 0-87 Sangaleku, 11 Scar Nix, 1-12 Flavien de Polo, 1-3 Killian Cross, 1-7 Spider Biscott, 1-7-8-9 Braveheart, 1-8 Charlie Coeur, 3 Rocket, 3-2-2 Gato, 5 Le Rotisseur, 6-6 Jean-Vincent Pousson, 7-7-6-5 Laurent Lebourd, 9-5 Hygienic, and 9-5-1 Bernie. Also a big thank you to Quad Skate Shop, Europe's original brick and mortar skate shop. Outstanding selection with a delivery guarantee. You can check them out online at quadrollerskateshop.com.
And players rejoining on the track. Scoreboard reads Australia 73 points to France's 36.
Remembering, of course, that France arrived here by beating Canada 270 to 137.
25 missing it up the front.
An empty cheese balls bearings penalty box, but I've spoken too soon. Australia's 173 Copter off, and France pick up lead.
Charlie Coeur giving France only their second lead in the game so far. Goodness, Millings trying to wrap up Charlie Coeur. Flaming Galah trying to do the same thing, but Milling giving a penalty, a forearm block, off to the cheese ball bearing penalty box.
France coming in on that second scoring pass attempt, apex jump, but
Not
it's
able.
foiled by Australia's 8-0 Flaming Galah.
It's an affectionate term in Australia, you know.
Yeah?
You're a Flaming Galah.
You're my Flaming Galah?
No,
Does that work?
I'm no one's Flaming Galah, thank you. Okay, it's not that affectionate.
See, you've taken advantage of the cultural lack of understanding that I have.
Very true. It's practically racist of me. Australia uses a roster of 7 different jammers, gives a lot of depth, and each jammer has a slightly different style. Sausage with the duck and weave, as you just saw. Not quick enough for France, though. France is out in front with Rocket taking the lead.
2 leads now for Rocket. France using a 4-jammer rotation. You can see Rocket getting out a great dip by Sausage.
Sarge going the outside while Rocket going the inside, and of course the inside line is a little bit quicker.
Just darting across the track. So we have Songaku.
We only have 2 Australian blockers on the track at the moment. Milling standing.
Dreadblocks returns. Is Songaku going to manage to take advantage of the lack of Australian blockers on the track? He thinks he has no pass, no penalty, but he actually picks up a track cut So a power jam for Dreadblocks.
Dreadblocks with a big opening on the inside line. He picks up lead jammer status. Australia again with the lead jammer status. Australia again with the power jam. This is going to start to really hurt France. 33 points in front. Australia are looking very, very strong. Seeing that replay, Dreadblocks streaking up the inside line. Thank you to vMix for that replay.
Yep, you can check out vMix live streaming software at vmix.com.
Two Australian jammers loitering around the jammer line. It's either going to be Sausage or Slender Jam. Slender Jam goes back. Sarge takes the power jam. Ducks under France's number 13, Killian Cross.
Chambers returns to track, strengthening Australia's wall of gold.
He went in there to mess up France's wall of blue.
Songaleku coming up. Look how strong that is on turn one.
That rotating triangle strengthened even further with Millings joining the track. Songaleku trying to use a bit of brute force there.
Sarge using the 360 rotation tactic to try and get past France's blockers. Does so successfully as comes back in for a second scoring pass.
Sarge doing do-si-do with Killian Cross. Through for another 5-point pass. Songaleku completing his initial. Sarge hits it and quits it. 10 added to Australia's score, and the jam referees just double checking that the scorekeepers have the right numbers.
So France now scoreless for 3 jams. You can see there France with 1 blocker in the box, and how the points have worked out so far. And we're straight underway. Yaslam and Nash for France, but it is Australia that pick up lead.
And there's been a star pass given to number 112, Flavien Dupelot.
And that star pass has worked in Flavien's favour. Manages to apex jump it to pick up 4. And attempts the second one.
Not quite landing it though. But Simon Chambers being given a penalty.
So Kilobyte assesses that Booyah has received a track cut. Yaslam and Ash, former jammer at the start of this, proving the double threat.
And an apex jump on the inside there, giving 4 more points to France. Slender Jam, look at the grit and determination on their face.
Both jammers now scoring.
Booyah going for the apex jump, not quite managing.
40 seconds left on the jam. Slender tries to re-attempt to go on the outside, manages to find the space, but picks up a track cut, so we're going to see Slender Jam take 30 seconds, sit down in the cheese balls penalty box.
It feels like a cascade of power jams just happening in the last 5 minutes. Booyah juking to the outside, very successful. Pulls 5 points for that. Sin, Ballistic and Chambers realigning. Booyah managing to sneak past Chambers and Ballistic.
Unbelievable.
Fantastic athleticism.
So despite receiving a jammer penalty in that period, this was the track. This was the first landed apex, and then there was a second one where he received the cut track. Let's see if they go over.
Amazing footwork.
Thortank for France. Remember, Slender Jam started the jam in the penalty box. Now returns. Pack advantage with Australia.
Thortank with a little jump to get on through as lead jammer. Slender Jam not quite able to keep the toes in. Slender Jam trying to use muscle. Drop running in and trying to give a hand.
Killian Cross bracing up front, trying to stop Slender Jam. Now bridging between the two, the front and the back of the pack. Really stretched out.
Slender Jam getting the benefit of a broken pack, and he makes his way through on his initial pass. Trop off to the penalty box.
Takes 1 minute for Slender Jam to get that initial.
Killian Cross with the star, a sneaky star pass from France.
Possibly one of my favourite players of the World Cup so far. Killian Cross, an incredibly diverse jammer and blocker, pivot.
And he's being driven back, but tried the straightaway jump past Galar, but gets a track cut for his troubles. He's off to the cheese ball bearing penalty box.
Tried saying that fast 5 times.
I can't even say it slowly once.
Slender Jam on a scoring pass. Still fighting hard. 10 seconds left on the jam. Push to the inside. France is recycling on form. A slow recovery from Slender Jam. I wonder if he may have taken quite strong hits to his left butt cheek.
And there's that vMix replay.
So an official review has been called by Australia. Gives us a great opportunity to say thank you to a couple of our sponsors. So skates don't quite fit right. Don't let foot and heel slippage mess with your game. Check out Bruised skate straps. They wrap around your boot and plate to keep your feet in place so you can improve your agility. Be better with Bruised skate straps. BruisedSN.com.
Check out those vMix replays. There goes Dreadblocks marching on the inside.
So if you're just joining us, you have tuned in to Australia versus France during the bronze medal match. 103 points to Australia, France to 63.
France in the blue. Look at that apex jump. Holy dooly, thank you vMix.
France have been to the penalty box 8 times as jammers in the so far, and only twice for Australia. And I think that's reflecting in the score we're seeing at the moment.
And that takedown by Simon Chambers, certainly worth watching. Battle of the Beards out in front there. France coming off best. Worth applauding, definitely. Look, while we're in this official review, I must say that in terms of tournaments, you're always going to have your favourite moments. My favourite moment was sitting in the stands with the Canadian fans just now. Their chant was maple syrup, maple syrup, maple syrup.
Sentiment I would share. So it looks like the official review decision has been made. Just letting the teams know, and we will bring you the outcome of the official review any second now.
Here comes the head ref.
Australia's official review was to seek. Are we okay? Okay. Australia's official review was to seek a direction penalty on a French blocker. Upon review, it was determined that the body of the blocker was moving clockwise, but the feet were still moving in the derby direction. Therefore, no call stands, and Australia does not retain their review.
So, of course, each team gets only 1 review per half. And in terms of the direction of play, your feet need to be moving in derby direction. Your body does not.
It sort of looks a bit like a diagonal shift when you see that happen.
Or a falling person. Diagonally shifting to the ground.
So going into Jam 18, as the official review starts to come to an end, we are seeing the French jammer in the penalty box.
We're also seeing sausage rolls, one of the jammers for Australia, on a very high rotation.
So we just saw Jam Ref Kilobyte go over to the penalty box. A word has been had with France's Killian Cross, who took the helmet cover during that to become the jammer. Killian Cross now back in with his team. So presuming that either the penalty has been rescinded or maybe overserved.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. If you could see us at home, it'd be like three blank faces looking at each other.
Sarge.
Sarge being driven back by number 5 from France, Le Rotissier.
Sarge coming up against the French wall with an unbelievable force. Still no lead, nearly 30 seconds gone in this jam.
Sarge tiptoeing his way on the outside, one to beat. And through, lead for Australia.
But initial gain by France incredibly quickly. An empty cheese balls bearings penalty box.
Australia, that was Simon Chambers managing to change the direction of the France jammer. But France picking up that 1 point.
So you can see Sarge gets out, and straight after, France does too. 1 point picked up by France.
Both teams putting up fantastic defence, as we can see from the length of time it is taking for jammers to get through in their initial pass. Australia on 103, playing France 64. That is a difference of 39 points.
This will be the second time we've seen 35 on the jam line. But we've actually just seen a swap. Sarge now sat in the penalty box. 35 returns to bench, and a power jam start for Rocket with France.
Rocket with the speed and agility is going to make the best of this power jam, I feel.
Rocket using that outside line, moves quickly to the inside.
They break on through the middle, straight up the guts, and gets lead jammer.
Sarge standing in the box, ready to return.
Rocket going for the big cuddle on Milling. Got done for blocking with the head.
So we're going to see a swap.
Yes, Rocket is going to the penalty box. Sarge is out. Now, Sarge was out before Rocket went in, so I think that suggests that Rocket will get the full 30 seconds.
And Sarge wasting absolutely no time returning to the track and getting through an initial and now on the scoring pass, but no lead has been given.
Sarge getting down low, but super Biscotti managing to give enough of a threat. Sarge ducking and weaving gets his way through for the 5-point pass.
So 50 seconds left on the jam. Period clock not far away from expiring.
Still 44 points the difference.
Lovely bit of backwards recycling, apex jumping. I'm pointing at it because I'm really impressed from...
It is your man, Killian Cross. Sarge caught in a French sandwich.
A wonderful... Sarge being recycled back by France, and France.
Penalty being given out. I'm not sure who to.
Did you see that from Hygiene Nick as Sarge was being recycled?
There was a bit of a killer eye,
He
wasn't
did
it?
the old 2 fingers to the eye, 2 fingers to him, and then Sarge returns, just waves his hand in his face as if to say, I know you're there.
I'm feeling
watching
intimidated.
you.
It wasn't even directed at me.
So an amazing 13-point jam for France right at the end of the first period. And you can see that the jam will end with 2 Australia blockers sat in the box. That looks like Grant Milling to me.
Milling looking a little bit worse for wear there. But there will be a quick intermission. About 9 minutes is on the scoreboard.
Yep, so we will return very shortly for the conclusion of France and Australia. In the meantime, the studio are going to take a look back at some of their favourite moments and highlights from the first period. Over to the studio.
Welcome back here to the 2018 Men's World Cup in Barcelona. Final day, third place playoff between Australia and France in progress. What a game!
What a game indeed. We've got a 34-point differential going into the half time. 111 points Australia, 77 points France, and some of the stuff.
And I was just invited to join the crew. I was with the crew of Team Finland, and there was just they were so excited because they just see the level that they want to show. But Scotland was wow. Like I still seen Optimus Grime passing with no like he was not worried at all. He was like, his expression was so quiet, and he keeps passing. He would keep passing, and it was amazing. But at the other side, we had Finland, who had these strong little jammers and Keski, yes, and the crew just like the public was mad each time that he was on the track because he was doing magic.
Esa Toivonen as well had a great game for Finland jamming. Scotland actually really recovered well because Skate Pliskin, who'd been one of their main jammers, picked up 5 penalties in the first half and the 6th early in the second, so sat for the rest of the game. But Mackenzie and Nick Gigg especially really stepped up for Scotland. I don't have the final score to hand, but Scotland won by about 40 points in the end.
I think it was 177 for Finland and 226.
Something in that region.
Yes.
But the 5th place game saw another repeat from the group stage, saw Canada versus Mexico. Now, Snigs, you watched that one?
Oh my gosh, I was very thankfully sat trackside for the whole kit and caboodle. Incredibly close to start with. I was talking with Brom about it, and we touched briefly on it earlier, just the two of us, saying how in that previous game in the group stages, Canada had scored roughly 3.5 points for every point that Mexico had picked up. It shrunk down slightly this time round. It was roughly 3 points to a point, and I think it was a combination of Mexico coming out stronger and Canada being ever so slightly weaker. A lot of jammer points, jammer penalties. My apologies. On both sides, you can tell that we are at the final point of this 4-day tournament because everybody is absolutely knackered.
And they're leaving everything on track. There's no point.
as we can see,
hanging around because there's nothing to play for after this.
No, exactly. As you can see in that sort of footage we just had from Australia, France, everything is being left on the wood.
Absolutely. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. It's been a fantastic 4 days. We've got the second half of this great game, Australia versus France for the bronze medal, and the final at 5 o'clock Central European time, local time, USA versus England. This is what it's all about, the Spirit of Derby Trophy.
It's going to be phenomenal. Stick with us, folks.
Sometimes your feet slide around in your skates. They can be packed out from years of love, or maybe they just never fit right from the beginning. Either way, it can adversely affect your agility, edgework, and toe-stop skills. Don't let foot slippage mess with your game. Check out Bruce skate straps. They wrap around your boot and plate to keep your feet snug so you can be better. They are lightweight, easy to strap on, and they look pretty good too. Skate straps are available in tons of colors and patterns. Check them out on Etsy or brucesn.com.
We really miss the feeling of spontaneously visiting a store and trying out the newest gear. A hangout for all roller skaters. Everyone has their own unique style. Because of our large assortment, we can now personalise roller skates while you wait, so you can try them out right away. Our mission is to fit you with the right gear, and don't forget to turn left.
Is that right?
633, Grant Milling. Maybe?
And welcome back to the second period of France versus Australia. Scores as they stand: 111 Australia, France on 77. We had a look at the penalties in the intermission. Australia's number 63 is
633.
633 is currently on 5 penalties. There's no one else really in the danger zone at the moment. And you can see the first half, we had a couple of high point scoring jams near the beginning, but actually as we went on, they got quite small.
And probably those penalties we saw was Milling sort of sailing across and trying to collect jammers as he went through and catching things like low blocks, etc. So he'll only have 2 more penalties in Stowe. But there is a bit of depth in the Australian lineup, so that's not going to be too much of a problem for the coaches. Australia with a bunch of coaches, Yana Nuku out the front, Sarah Chambers coaching the jammers, and Bianca Schiaretti in the back.
So it's France's Thortank that picks up lead, while Slinger is still with France's pack.
Slinger sent to the penalty box for a track cut. Slinger will be in the cheese ball bearing penalty box for 30 seconds.
So Slinger opening up the second period as Slinger did in the first period, but hasn't jammed since.
Chambers being taken back behind Booyah. France adding 5 points.
Thortank coming in on another scoring pass. Slinger with star in hand. Returns, taken off to the outside of turn 1.
Everybody out of the penalty box. Slinger reaching, arms not long enough.
Looking like Slinger's trying to reach for a star pass, but the star stash was enough.
Well, the pivot was way out the front. You'd have to have 9-foot long arms to get there. Thortank with a cracker of an opening jam. Look at Thor go on the outside there. Bouncing off the big men.
So that was France's highest point scoring jam of the game, beating Rocket from the first period, who scored 13 points.
Dreadlocks on the jammer line with Charlie Kerr. The size difference between the Australian jammer and the Australian block is quite significant. Ballistic missile, Chambers and Sin clearing the path for Dreadlocks to get through, but he's not the lead jammer.
Charlie Kerr attempting the French dip around the outside of turn 1.
French dip, of course, is a sandwich.
And here's the... this is how Charlie Kerr picks up lead, using that inside turn 1.
There's Kerr again, calling that jam off on the ground. There's an official timeout. Gives you an opportunity to know about Roller Derby Elite. Roller Derby Elite is a proud sponsor of the Worldwide Roller Derby and platinum sponsor of Team USA.
And there they are. Bronze, silver and gold medals and the trophy that everyone's playing for. This is who someone is going to be walking away with that when England and USA go head-to-head at 7 p.m. local time. We're seeing one blocker apiece in the penalty box at the moment, but they are both standing, and Australia awarded 2 points during that official timeout.
.35 looking for the inside line. Rocket getting a hand from Mirage, bounces off Milling.
Rocket
bounces off Flaming Galar.
Rocket by name, Rocket by nature, streams around turn 1.
Laps 35. And that's 3 leads in a row. France off to a flying start in this half.
They keep performing like that. We may see that gap close yet between France and Australia.
And it isn't at all a very big gap. 18 points is one power jam, really.
A forearms has been issued to Australia's 173. France also losing 0-0 Mirage.
Bernie back on the track for France.
Quite a fast-moving pack, but it's Australia that take off the speed, using that dip technique around the outside to pick up another scoring pass and calls it off, denying any more points for Australia.
There we see Rocket squishing down the inside.
Rocket looking back to the bench for that communication to call it off. So Mavericki for Australia, Songoliku for France. Songoliku sees the gap straight away, runs around the outside to pick up lead. Incredible footwork.
Mavericki being drawn all the way back by the admirable Killian Cross. Copped it back on the track. Songoliku trying to get through the large cold wall.
Mavericki currently with helmet cover in hands.
Ballistic whistle just throwing Songoliku.
Songoliku really struggling now. Gold tripod between him and some more points for France.
Copter using ballistic missile and Chambers as all punching bags, things. Maybe gloves was what I was looking for.
Songoliku having not moved more than 3 feet in the last 20 seconds.
Mavericki not far behind him though. Copter going in there for the assist, but having to mind the wall.
Something tells me Songoliku may have had enough of not moving far then. And all of a sudden,
we've got a quick replay on the line.
We've seen that points gap close. France 113, Australia 117.
You see streaking up the inside there, Songoliku, fast and flexible. I don't know if you can hear this at home, but the stadium is absolutely electric. There's only 4 points in it. And we have a team timeout called by Australia.
Sucker Punch Skate Shop is the largest Derby-owned and operated store in Europe, operating online and actually having a physical store. Heavily involved in the European Derby community on a number of levels. They're best known for their reliable service, honest advice and competitive prices, as well as their top quality products and huge product range. Check them out, Sucker Punch Skate Shop.
Alrighty, teams returning to the track. Dreadlocks is ready to be jamming for Australia.
And Yas Lamanash. And it's Yas Lamanash that gets out in front.
Lamanash is through. Picks up lead again for France. The tide has really turned. That's their 5th in a row.
One scoring pass and we'll see a lead change.
Dreadlocks caught behind the waterfalling France blockers. He's working hard, getting that scoring pass, 5 points, including the jammer lap point.
And that is the lead change France 118, Australia 117. 1 point between the two. And the initial now for Australia.
4 points, 4 more points added for France. That was a big 9-point jam. France now sitting ahead 5 points.
And the crowd have responded with rapturous amounts of noise.
Thortank.
Mavericky and Thortank.
Thortank finding a massive gap on the outside. Fantastic assistance from his blockers.
Mavericky removes the star, holds in hand. Pivot is close by, but holding onto it.
Australian blockers managing to hold Thortank down just for that sec. Killian Cross in there trying to give an assistance. Killian Cross trying to get in amongst it.
Thortank having a really hard time. And Thortank's contemplating his next move. And it's to just come up against the Australia wall with as much force as possible.
Viscotti said to the cheese ball bearing penalty box along with Braveheart. Australia with the pack advantage. You would think they would be able to get Mavericky out. Loses his feet but stays in bounds, so he just has Killian Cross to beat. Killian with the amazing footwork there, managing to knock Mavericky out. Killian insisting that Mavericky go further back. And all of the French blockers are back on the track.
Just enough time bought for everyone to be back together. Killian Cross knocking off Mavericky again. Spider Viscotti off to the box.
Solid defence work there from France blockers. Mavericky finally makes his way through a back block called on Viscotti, I think, on Braveheart. Two French blockers in the cheese ball bearing penalty box. And you see that little snippet of a replay there.
So pack advantage sitting with Australia. And Sarge's first jam of the half. Are we going to see things change? That streak that France have been having with lead jams all of a sudden changes as soon as Sarge steps on.
And we just saw Milling sent to the cheese ball bearing penalty box for a multiplayer block. That must be Milling's 6th penalty, I believe.
Charlie Kerr taking off Sarge. Now back on track. Everyone's in the pack, densely populating.
With a little head tap to Sausage rolls. Sausage calling that jam off.
Yeah, Charlie Kerr was about to come in on that second scoring pass.
He managed to pull one out of the air. Let's see Sarge wiping himself out.
Just look at that footwork from Charlie Kerr on the outside to stay in bounds.
There's no one in the cheese ball bearing penalty box. And Collins knocked to the ground. Rocket getting on through with lead jammer status.
Rocket coming in for that scoring pass, gets sandwiched between two Australian blockers, 51 and 16. Third
block nearly through. Rocket was through. Hygienic recycling dreadbox all the way back to the jammer line.
France starting to grow out. And on the track, you can see that a power jam for Australia. France losing that lead with a minute left on the jam.
Seeing after the cheese ball bearing penalty box.
It's all of a sudden got quite busy.
It certainly did. 2 French blockers on the track. Dreadblocks, tippy toes through. 5 points added to Australia's score. Level pegging for this jam.
Now both jammers back on track. France able to start scoring points straight away, but knocked to the outside of turn 2, denied the opportunity.
Rocket looking like he was coming back onto the track and then getting off track cart into the cheese ball bearing penalty box, giving Dreadblocks another power jam. And that jam coming to an end. Both the French and Australian benches in the centre having a chat to the referees.
So they were the first to look at this butt first replay going in. Beautifully done. Share your favourite butt first moment. Use on Twitter and use hashtag MRDWC 2018 as well.
And there's Sarge on the jammer line for Australia. Just that little tap was enough. France certainly showing some very clever blocking work. Sarge with that burst of acceleration. Busts through.
Le Ritasseur did not see that coming. Spun out on turn 4.
Sarge still going through the step over for a 5-point pass. He's in fact the only Australian jammer to get leads so far in this half.
He's also very quickly starting to close the gap between the two as we approach the 15 minutes remaining of the game.
And Rocket with the star stashed. With the pivot. So let's see if there is any pass off to Booyah. There are arms everywhere on the track. Sarge looking for a bit of a hand, I think.
And comes in the offense. Hole has been created in the wall, but Sarge taken down as well. France given the chance to reform.
Sarge with 1 to beat. He is through. No pass, no penalty. So, sorry, pardon me, no pass, no point. So that's a 4-point pass for Sarge.
And with that scoring pass, we've seen another lead change between the two teams.
And the Australian bench going absolutely arm flapping, trying to get Sarge's attention. And he does call that jam off. Here is the VMix replay of Sarge ducking and weaving. Signature move, I think. Arms are flaying.
And a 14-point jam for Sarge. Replays this weekend are brought to you by VMix Software, vmix.com.
.35 getting a little bit of a talking to from, talking to, that sounds negative, doesn't it? Getting some kind words of guidance.
It looks very passionately fueled. So,
yes, well, Sarah Chambers, of course, one of the lead jammers for VRDL.
.35 coming through, nearly on initial. It's France that pick up lead, but .35 is only about 40 foot behind.
Both jammers putting on a ton of pace.
Songleku on another scoring pass.
And that jam being called off. Ballistic missile, insisting it was a track cut on France.
And you can see Songleku picking up the lead.
Songleku did pick up the track cut as well. Let's see it in this vMix replay. And that will give Mavericki the power start.
And so, with the end of Jam 10, we are seeing 1 point game. 12 and a half minutes left on the clock. Sarge up to Jam, power start. Sarge just pushing France like they're not there. Gets through with little resistance, picks up lead.
Sarge doing every second jam at the moment. Could have been an opportunistic thing. Mavericki was up on the jammer line, I thought, and was swapped out with Sarge. 4 points added to Australia's score. Songleku joining us on the track.
Sarge looking to the outside, coming through on the second scoring pass.
Milling on the track, avoiding a penalty. He's only got one left in the tank. Songleku, there was I don't see a star in anyone's helmet. And that's because the helmet cover is with number 112, Flavien Dupollet-Pelot.
Or is written on his shirt.
Booyah. Easier for my uncultured tongue to say.
The Francis German recycled. Still with the star in his hand, yet to put it on top of his pivot.
He can't really do anything about it. There is a helmet cover on the track.
And that is Australian's pivot that's fallen onto the track.
That's Flaming Galar's pivot cover.
Sarge now putting 9 points between Australia and France. This scoring pass furthering the gap.
And Brom, are there any consequences for the lost pivot cover? Penalties?
No. There won't be anything other than I think Australia will be looking to retrieve it and take it back to the bench.
Yananuku in the centre, checking the score is correct with the referee. In the meantime, the vMix replay there, showing you Australia's jamming work.
And you can see throughout the game, France at the start of the second period had a very strong, this is where they really closed that gap. And then Australia, and that was when Sossage returned to the track after a few jams out. And all of a sudden, we've seen France's lead close and then Australia take over.
So Yananuki's chat with the referee. Has seen the referee go over to the scorekeeper.
So make sure you check out the most reliable, longest-lasting bearing available at affordable prices. That's Cheeseballs Bearings, online or at your local skate shop, cheeseballs.com. Cheese with a Z.
Referee can confirm with Yananuki that the correct points have been recorded.
Yas Lamanache through quick to pick up lead for France. The first in 3.
Look at the speed on Yas. Ducking and weaving and getting through for another 5-point pass. Mavericki with the star off. But going past Chambers, so no opportunity for a star pass there.
Yas Lamanache through on the second scoring pass.
Spider Biscotti to the cheese ball bearing penalty box, and coming out of the cheese ball bearing penalty box, Hygienic is joining the track. Yes, Lamanash, another 5. What a cracker of a jam he's having.
So we are seeing a tied jam right now, a tied game.
Yes, Lamanash being drawn back past Ballistic Missile. All the blockers are on the track now. Mavericki makes his way through for his initial pass. That is 1 minute and 20 seconds into the jam to complete an initial pass. Amazing blocking work by France.
So 17 points picked up by France.
That's like 4 scoring passes.
That puts them 2 points ahead of Australia, who were held to a 0-point jam, leaving them with 166 points.
.35 up against Thortank. Thortank just smashing up against Flaming Glass chest.
Thortank stretching out Australia's pack at the front. Finds the opportunity he needs on the outside of turn 2. Picks up lead.
France with all the momentum right now.
Dirty 5 chasing down, trying to stop France from picking anything much up.
Zero. Millen getting up slowly from the track.
Yeah, France's jam ref just wanting to clarify. Sparks and Kilobyte are 2 jam refs today. And 2 points picked up by France.
Yananuku seeking lots of clarification from the referees. We've got a VMix penalty as replay. And we're back to the live action.
Charlie Kleur and Singer. Slinger's quite near the front, pushing against France.
Slinger is through with the little apex jump. Slinger is lead jammer.
So that's the first time Slinger's been lead, but coming in on a scoring pass, pushing against France.
I think it's Slinger's 3rd jam for the game. And the first time grabbing lead status. Slinger calls that jam off, denying France any more scoring opportunities.
So 3 points picked up by Slinger on that scoring pass.
Slinger getting through there as lead.
Putting it to a 1-point game.
Australia giving the start to Sarge. Sarge is up against Sangul Oker. It's an absolute smush happening, being drawn back by Killian Cross.
So Killian takes a tumble, trying to jump the apex.
Sarge trying to meld the way through and gets lead jammer. Sangaloka with the star in the hand. Killian Cross not quite within reach. Sarge being driven back.
Hygienic off to the Cheese Balls Bearings penalty box for France. Sangaloku having little to no joy getting through.
And Sarge through on a scoring pass. Bench urges him to call that jam off, which he does. Another lead change. Here we see it again on the VMix replay. And this is, of course, what they are playing for. Australia or France are eligible for the bronze medal. The final is going to be on next between the USA and England.
So timeout has been called by Australia. It just gives us a chance to say that if you've been seeing the wonderful official merchandise to the Men's Roller Derby World Cup 2018, you can purchase that online after the World Cup finishes, probably tomorrow or Tuesday, at mrdwc.com/merch. If you go there now, it will show sold out. But don't panic, because once stock levels have been taken, we'll put it back on. There's the bronze medal.
I think there's enough there for us to have one too.
I would say so. Do you think anyone would mind?
Well, they've got spares.
The tournament chair is sat right next to us. We could probably lean across and say, "Hey, Statman, do you mind?"
Statman wouldn't mind. He's an easygoing kind of fella.
Our wonderful producer, very cherry. Would you mind asking him?
There's only 4 and a bit minutes left in this game. The scores are so tight.
And
174 to 170.
And we've seen 4 lead changes as well. No wonder I'm out of breath.
I'm out of breath because I'm really unfit.
So Dirty 5 and Rocket.
35 going for the running side. Rocket trying to peel people off. Chambers trying to take him down. And Rocket is through.
But really not far behind. Dirty 5 is ready to start scoring, completes initial, but picks up 0 points.
France, on the other hand, picking up 2 points.
So with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, 2 points between France and Australia. This is the bronze medal game that we've all been waiting for.
It's been a super exciting game. The last couple of games that led to this have been absolute nail-biters.
Thor Tank and Mavericking.
Galar and Copter holding back Thor Tank. Trop sending him back to the jammer line.
Mavericky active lead for Australia.
Killian has the star. Mavericky sees that, calls that jam off. Australia putting 4 on the scoreboard.
And look how these points have fluctuated throughout the game.
There's probably only about 3 more jams left in this game, I think.
A tense moment as we can hear cheers for both teams in equal measure, and the volume increases here in the sports hall in Barcelona.
I hear a referee whistled. It is a referee timeout, and that is because I didn't notice, but Milling was sent to the penalty box. We said before Milling was sitting on too many penalties, and he has actually fouled out of the game. Sitting Milling's last penalty. Number 4, Australian Collins, is in the cheeseball penalty box. And there we see the VMix replay. France streaking out into lead jammer position there.
So Yas Lamanache is the highest scoring French jammer.
And we see him scoring there on the VMix replay. And he's shoulder to shoulder with Slinger.
Slinger knocked to the outside by all of France's blockers. They reform, and it's France's Yas Lamanache that picks up leads.
Slinger scattering to the front. Managing to keep Slinger's feet. One to beat.
And that blocking out of play penalty has been assessed on France's 7-7-6-5.
Yananuku streaking on in there, calling a timeout. 2 points added to France. Slinger unable to add to Australia's score. Minute 50 left on the clock. With only 4 points the difference, how are our hearts going to cope?
So if Australia win this, they will retain their bronze medal position that they won in 2016. If France do, this will be the first time they have picked up the bronze medal position. If they don't, France will maintain the position they had in 2014 and improve on their 5th place position they had in 2016.
And that was the VMix replay there. Dreadlocks on the jammer line for Australia, up against Charlie Kerr. (4-2) pack advantage to Australia.
Dreadlocks will be making the most of this, I'm sure.
Trop in there trying to hold back one of the French blockers, while Dreadlocks left with the other. Dreadlocks is through, lead jammer for Australia.
The offense is being provided by France.
Star is off, but the pivot is behind the French jammer. Trop is sent to the penalty box.
It looks like one of the French blockers may be waiting to go to the penalty box as well, as it was full when he was last there. Both blockers released from France. Another one goes that was in waiting.
That is Booyah, I believe. And the star is back on the helmet of Charlie Kerr.
1 minute left on the period clock. Australia's bench is signalling to call it, but they haven't noticed on track because now France are scoring. We have a 178 scoreline.
Some confusion there from the Australian bench. 3 different people signalling 2 different things.
One more scoring pass completed by Australia.
So that pulls Australia out 5 ahead. 30 seconds left on the clock.
And look,
Sin off to the cheese ball bearing penalty box. 4 points added by Charlie Kerr. That's 1 point in it. Dreadlocks calls a jam off.
Dreadlocks picking up 1 more point on that scoring pass. Australia have called a timeout has been called by France. So
both teams do have official reviews left.
Yeah, so Australia may be looking to call an official review. We definitely saw the signal being made, but France got the timeout in there first.
And that's the big hit by Sin that sent him to the penalty box there, given to you by the VMix replay.
A big thank you to our incredible production team who have worked tirelessly throughout the entire tournament to bring the live stream to you. Two-point stands between it.
Here is that jump. Oh, and those, there are those medals.
Just reminding us of what this means. France came in to this World Cup probably slightly underestimated by a number of people.
So let's see who is calling that official review. I cannot see on the penalty box. Oh, it is Australia calling the official review.
So Cross is just sat in the middle of the track right now.
He's just doing a stretch.
Just chilling out.
Good as anywhere, I guess.
Meanwhile, France are ready to go. They're there going, we're ready for the next one. The official review was a timeout. I think just looking for an opportunity to take a breather.
Now, if that wasn't an official review, there was 1 second left on, or 12 seconds left on the game clock. Would that have been enough for another jam?
Yes. We would have seen it. So I'm so in awe of what's happening in front of us right now.
And France will finish this game with Kilian Cross in the star.
Dirty 5 for Australia. Both jammers, I'm sure, very consciously aware that their actions in the next few seconds will mean the difference between a bronze place medal and the 4th place.
35 finding the track. He goes back behind Hygienic.
You can see that how much this means to Kilian Cross.
Kilian Cross is
picks up
through.
lead.
He's the jammer. France are 2 behind. He needs to score to call it off. A big sweeping hit there from Dirty 5, giving Australia a little bit more life.
One scoring pass is needed by Kilian Cross. He can call it off and that will be it. But Dirty 5 is having a really hard time. It's recycled.
Sarge with the pivot. Where is the panty stashed in Dirty 5's hand? Dirty 5 is through for his initial pass. A track cut has been assessed, but that was on the French blocker. Kilian Cross stationary.
Kilian was, I think, judging that. And there it is. It has been signalled. 4 points picked up by Kilian Cross in the last seconds of the game.
Unbelievable action.
Look at the emotion in the crowds. There are helmets being thrown. People are taking their
Small
tops off.
babies thrown from room to room.
It's the game.
It is an unofficial score. Yana Nuku, bench manager for Australia, is in the centre talking to the referees. Let's see that replay again.
And that is the final score. It is confirmed. France will be taking home the bronze medal for the first time in men's World Cup history.
I think that might be how we start with like.
What an amazing game.
That camera will be the only one that's on.
Unbelievable.
We see the replay on the reaction there. The crowd losing their mind.
Wait for it.
Absolutely incredible game from both sides.
What a phenomenal penultimate game. So, coming up very shortly, while you recover from that, we will be bringing you the final. It will be a final.
Wait for it to be official.
What an amazing opportunity. My name is Melodrama.
It's gone back to unofficial scores. Just bear with me 1 moment. Statman, the tournament chair, moving into the middle of the track.
That is not official.
Referee's still in a tight huddle.
So I do know that very shortly, Statman is actually going to be, the tournament chair will be bringing you important news regarding the future of the tournament.
Referees looking very seriously. They really don't want to be getting any of this
You
wrong.
can see I'm not.
The referees
There
are
are a lot of very
something.
emotional fans, emotional players.
Oh, we are in an official timeout. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Perfect.
Lots of replays brought to us by VMix. We really have been very well supported by their technical prowess.
So still being displayed as unofficial score right now.
I don't think we're done
Everyone
yet.
has been told to
I
go
don't
back
think
from
we're
whence
done
they
yet.
came.
Just, I will put the lights on.
My goodness, what an amazing thing to have happened. The call-off was an early call-off. Referees have judged that he didn't hit his hips properly. To call off a jam, the jammer must use both hands to touch their hips.
Right. So we're just going to hear from our head referee for the game.
There will be one more jam.
There will be one more jam. These are the words that every Australian wanted to hear.
It's quite simple. Head ref has spoken. There will be one more jam.
I'm going to guess that if France gets lead, they are going to be slapping the bones out of their hips.
So all of that emotion.
We get to live it all again.
We get to, one way or another, we will be. I eat my words back from earlier because we are seeing one more.
I bet people wish they didn't throw their helmets away. And about those babies being chucked. Goodness. No baby chucking yet. Thank you. Wait the 5 minutes.
Okay.
Whistle back on. Yananuki back in the centre. 0 time on the clock.
There will be a pack advantage to Australia as France's number 17 Biscott will be sitting in the penalty box.
I would say a pack advantage to France with those 500 fans standing there.
Everyone is on their feet to watch this final, and the jam is on.
And Sarge is through. Lead jammer for Australia. Killian Cross going for the defence. Sarge ducking underneath. And he needs to score a solid 3. The bench of Australia flapping their arms saying, call it, call it, call it. And he does.
The question is that enough?
You can
It was certainly
booze.
0 points picked up by France. It is being signalled that 5 points was picked up by Sarge. Sarge collapses.
That's Chambers, I think. Plucking the win out of the jaws of France.
So there is 0 seconds. We've gone back to unofficial score.
Who knows what could happen next? Hang on to your babies, please.
But what we have seen, it's the French fans have had their bronze medal taken away from them.
Australia's going to have to leave by the back door.
Well, technically it was never theirs because the game wasn't over. And so Australia will be taking home the bronze medal, and they have retained the title from 2016.
I'm not calling that until it goes official on that screen and stays official for a good 30 seconds. We saw what happened last time. Okay, it says final score. Let's just wait a second.
Now that we have a final score, there is one important announcement. My friends, set your calendars. Can you turn me up a little bit? Can you turn me up? There we go.
And this is Statman, the chair of
Set
the
your
World Cup Committee.
calendars. July the 9th, 2020, St. Louis, Missouri, Men's Roller Derby World Cup Round 4, July 2020 in St. Louis, Missouri. And I hope to see all of you there.
And what a tremendous game. What an amazing game it was for the whole 2 hours that we were watching. The final score, what a cracker. Eventually ending at 189 to Australia, beating France by just 3 points.
I'm exhausted over that, and we've got more yet to come because very shortly we will be bringing you the final game of the Men's World Cup 2018 in Barcelona when USA will take on England.
I'm Melodrama.
I've been Brom, and a massive thank you to our producer, Very Cherry.
I didn't want to be on live without explanation.
Squeeze him. I don't know if there's an interview or not.
No, I don't.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh
Wow.
I'm shaking.
You're not the only one. So, just a little bit of clarification, because this may not have come through to watching at home. The penultimate jam, as it turned out to be, Kilian Kroos was jamming.
Yes.
He asked his bench should he call it. He did not actually touch his hips. The jam referee thought he had and called it. Let's have a look. There was one touch, there was not two. Hats off to the referees. They've made a mistake, they've corrected it, they've put it right. So we had one more jam. Australia got lead, Sausage Rolls got lead, got the points. We have an official final score of 189 to 186 for Australia over France. Congratulations, Australia, you are the bronze medal winners at the World Cup 2018 in Barcelona. How are we going to follow that with the final?
I don't know if I can make up the final. I'm having a hard time right now.
So again, it looks like we're getting the replay in slow-mo. So the hands are out, there's one touch.
Not
And
twice.
yep, not twice, and the jam ref calls it off. The jam had not been called off.
Well, we can say that the ref
From that position, yes.
couldn't see if he was calling off or not.
Yeah, there is no fault attached to the jam referee from that position. He saw one and the hands go as if...
one touch, and that's all. And the ref is already
Yep.
calling off the shot.
Yep, there's line of sight. We can see on there that the referee would not have had line of sight for the second. It would have been the natural thing to call it for the second one. And I think that's where we see Rourke on the outside. Rourke, who we know is one of the best referees in the world,
Yes,
I think
definitely.
has picked up on this. Kilian Kroos looks at his bench there with his hands like, I didn't call it. And that's where I think we've got confusion. But, having said that, the outcome, how they dealt with it, was the right thing.
Yes, definitely. Everybody makes mistakes. But I think now France is feeling a lot of frustration. But we had to understand that rules are still rules.
Yeah, and
if you don't touch twice your hips, the jam, it's not over.
exactly. You have to touch the hips twice in quick succession to call the jam. That wasn't done. We had another jam. And wow, Australia just... and after their heartbreak yesterday.
Yes. Well, next time, just for our health, we can just earn 59 minutes of game, please. We only one jam game. It's the same, and everybody's going to be more quiet.
Yeah, what...
So
wow.
Now we are leading to the finals.
The finals for the third straight time. USA versus England. In Birmingham in 2014, USA took the win.
Yes.
In Calgary in 2016, England closed the gap. USA took the win.
Well, I must say that after the games that we just saw this weekend, everything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen from the very first game with Spain beating Sweden, that was an upset in a lot of people's books. And we've seen with France beating Canada, a lot of people thought that Australia were going to beat England. And a lot of people thought France were going to beat Australia. We don't know.
We don't know
anymore. Scotland beat Finland earlier, which was a bit of a surprise to some.
I don't have any idea what is going to happen in the next 2 hours. But the only thing that I'm sure that is going to be so excited.
And we're going to be here to take you through it all here for the final of the Men's MRDWC World Cup 2018. We will be back at half-time to do a little bit of analysis, and then we'll be back to wrap up the whole event. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.